Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be making a Mimikyu. Not just any Mimikyu, I will be making this Arcanine Q. So I will be using Fimo modeling clay. It's a polymer clay that bakes in the oven. Using three colors, an orange, a cream and a black. So first I will be working on the kind of skirt part of the Mimikyu. I then compare it to this Mimikyu I already have to see if the scale is right and to see if I can continue working with it. So then I cut out triangles and smooth out those triangles. So first pinching the ends with my fingers, and then in a bit I will be using my modeling tool to smooth the insides out too. So after that's done, I'll be cutting this top part off because the flat surface is easier to work with later. Since I'm still working with orange, I will make other orange parts of the Arcanine. First of all being the ears. So I create them to be about the same size as each other and give them indents so I can also put the inside of its ears appropriately in there. Important to note that each time that I switch colors, I wash my hands pretty rigorously, because otherwise, for example, you get orange mixed in with this cream color, and that's not something you want. So after making those ears, I'm making a sphere that I can compare these ears to. This is going to be the base of the head. Then on top of that sphere, I can put the orange that Arcanine has in his face, creating kind of a mask. I will then, with my sculpting tools, make the mask a little bit more defined. After that, I can see if the ears fit well on the face, which in this case they do. And then so I decide to cut the ears a little bit flatter so that they actually fit. I then smooth out the transition, both for aesthetic purposes as well as being a reinforcement for the baking step later. Now that I no longer have any oranges to work with anymore, I can continue with the main body of this Mimikyu. So I try to follow the artwork as closely as possible while still being practical for my application. Then, while comparing it to my other Mimikyu, I can actually see how large this piece of the body needs to be, and I cut it out appropriately. And lastly, for this piece at least, you can see that I add a little bit of fluff, just like in the artwork. Then on to making the snout, and this took me quite a few attempts, but in the end I think it looks kind of nice. You don't really see the three-dimensionality of it in the artwork, however it is important that you have it because the Arcanine has a snout. I then create the top of his head. This also took a couple of attempts. And then I just go around the sculpture, around the head, and add more of the mane. I repeat that a couple of times, keeping it very close to the artwork that I'm using that as a reference. Also adding these spikes on the underside of his snout, smoothing those out. I've added a bit of clay here, so I make the transition a bit softer. There's also some spikes that need to be added on the back, which you can't see in the artwork, however they are there in a normal Arcanine, so I add those spikes too. Smooth those out, and then the head is basically done. Now onto making a tail, which you can't really see in this artwork, however Arcanine has a very distinct tail, so I just modeled it in a way that I saw fit. Then every Mimikyu has its black parts that are underneath, that basically make up the Mimikyu itself. And so I put a little plate down and add the Mimikyu on top, or the Arcanine in this case. And then I alternate cutting out triangles again. Then adding the tail, and also securing it with my clay sculpting tool. And then we're on to the final pieces, which is his eyes, his other set of eyes, his snout, and his mouth. First, starting with the mouth, basically. Add a little nose. I also added the eyes, which just are basically small dots. And then also the eyes on top, which are just wormy dealies, wrinklies that I rolled up, and I can add them. I also changed the mouth shape a little bit. Then, to remove all the fingerprints and smooth everything out, I used 70% rubbing alcohol and a cotton swab to go over the entire figure. So after smoothing all of that out, I can put it into the oven for 20 minutes at 130 degrees, and it comes out like this. So I'm very happy with how this turned out. It's hard, as you can see, and I can hold it. I think it looks very good, and it fits in really well with the other Mimikyu. I will definitely be making more Mimikyus in the future because I love them so much. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.